So 2.5 million shillings is what you would need as money to be able to invest in this. So I've told you the goats, the land, the leased land, the housing for the goats, the vaccines that you need for the year, the dipping for the ticks that you're going to need, the labor that you're going to need for taking care of the animals, cleaning their structures, providing them with water, and the labor that you will need in the farm, land preparation, dams, fencing, and all these things coming to 200,000. Then water supply, boreholes, wells, and things like that coming to an additional 500,000, coming to 2.5 million shillings. So this is what you do. The first thing, you need to come up with a plan. How do you feed them? That is why we have extra land, we have all this pasture, you're doing all this preparation. So you've sorted out the food, you sorted out the water because you have done a well, you have done a borehole. These things you do in advance before you bring animals on the ground. Don't bring animals on the ground and then they suffer because of hunger or thirst. That is the first thing. Then the other thing is cleanliness. So when are they going to be cleaned? The structures, they need to be cleaned. The spacing has to be taken care of so the animals are able to move around in their own shed without having to fight and to struggle. The structure has to have an additional maternity wing where the kids, the small kids that are born and the mothers that are pregnant can stay, where they can feed. They do not need to interact with the other bigger goats because remember, small goats are more susceptible to diseases, so you need to separate them from the rest. Then the other thing that you need to do is keep them in a secluded space where they can be able to feed without any kind of interaction. So remember, you want to keep your small goats from the big goats, the small ones that have been born, and you want to allow them to be able to feed at the comfort of their mothers without any interaction with other goats. So the other thing that you need to do is to understand that the first year you're not going to make any money. The first year is building, having structures. Because you're going to have structures around vaccine. When do you vaccinate? Where do you put the dip? How do you put the dip? Do you have the supplies for the animals' health issues and things like that? Then do you have somebody to be able to call in case there are medical emergencies? Things like that. So those are, for the first year, you're going to work around making the farm work. So for the 12 goats, at the end of the year, you'll probably have 30 goats. 30 goats. So don't sell, don't do anything. The only thing that you need to do every 3 months, you sell your male, the one that is the chief male or the chief males that are breeding. You sell them every 3 months. Then you buy, actually every 6 months, not 3 months, every 6 months you sell. Then you acquire new males because you do not want to have inbreeding. Inbreeding is a big problem that you need to take care of. So the only maintenance you'll be doing for the first year is every 6 months you sell your males, you buy new males. You sell your males, you buy new males. Why? You want new males to come into the system because you don't want to have inbreeding happening at your farm. Then the second year, you're probably going to have now a big chunk of 150 goats. So if you're going to have 150 goats, then I'm assuming that you'll be selling throughout the year for 150 goats. The second year, you again don't sell. You only sell the male, then you buy some additional males because you need new males. You sell more males and add a few males. So you are making some money, but this is not significant money. This is only money for maintenance, buying vaccines. So that one I'm not counting for the second year. Now the third year, this is where you start making the money. That is where you start selling your goats to make money. In the third year, without depleting your stock, so your breeding stock will now rise to around 40-50 females at any given time. You will now be able to sell 240 goats every year or 20 goats every month at 18 kilograms and assuming 400 shillings as a basic rate per kilo of meat, you'll be able to make 1.7 million Kenya shillings from sale of the goats that you had. So 240 goats at around 18 kilograms per goat, coming to around 400 shillings per kilo, giving you 1 1,728,000. Remember, you still have, that is gross income. Remember, you still have money that you are making, or money that you are using to be able to maintain these things. So there's a labor that you have to do, there's the leasing of land that you have to continuously do, there's medicines and the vaccine, the salt and all these things. That comes to around 300,000 every year that you are going to be incurring every year. So if you take the 1.7 million shillings, you deduct the 300,000, which is recurrent expenditure, without paying yourself, you'll have a net income of 1.4 million Kenya shillings. This is significant amount of money because it is almost equivalent to 100,000 net income every single month, around about what somebody will be able to be paid in an office if they work in a white collar job. Averagely, this is what they will be paid to be able to make. So that is how you make millions from goat farming. Key to remember from the first video, if you have not been in the first video, is 1. Choose your stock well. Young, energetic, adolescent goats. 2. Change your goats, your male breeding goats every month, every 6 months. 2. 10 acres that you buy on your own, then you can lease another 20 acres to assure yourself of pasture for your animals. 3. You're going to need to have the vaccines and a schedule for the vaccines. When do you vaccinate? This you can do in conjunction with a local veterinary in your area so that you can be able to protect your animals from any diseases. 3. A cleaning and hygiene regime, because hygiene is one of the ways that the goats are affected in their own. Hygiene and pests. Pests you're going to take care because of the dipping that you do every 3 weeks. Dipping to kill the ticks and any insects on their skins. Then the vaccines that, like we talked about, have a schedule. Talk about how you're going to have this vaccines implemented every other day. Then the other thing that you need to understand is that you need to ensure you get to a flock to a point where you're able to produce 240 goats that you are selling every year without having the problem of depleting your breeding stock. Then and only then would you be assured of having 1.4 million Kenya shillings every year net income from your operations. I hope you're learning, you're growing, and you're becoming better in your financial affairs. My name is George Kingori, your online finance guy. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. Thank you and enjoy your day.